Welcome to the Hooligan Hangout, ladies and gentlemen. You got your hosts, Edward, Anthony, Noah, and Alex here. So, this episode, we're doing things a little different. We will not be doing our news this week in light of what is happening in Ukraine uh, right now. Feel that's the most pressing news issue, so we don't want to take attention away from it. So, if you guys are paying attention in the world, and if you're not, look that up. It's definitely something that is going to affect you in some way. Oh, in other news, we're
Gas
gonna.
prices, especially gas prices.
That's everything, man. But that being said, we're gonna slide right into your regularly scheduled podcast.
All right, guys. So this week, as you may have already guessed it, we are going to review the Uncharted movie based on the video game franchise. Starring Tom Holland, Mark Wahlberg, Sophia Ali, Antonio Banderas as the villain. Directed by Ruben Fleischer, who also did both Venom movies.
You mean Zendaya wasn't in this one?
Not this time, no. She's gonna get another Fortnite skin.
Did y'all know? This is off topic already, but real quick, did y'all know Tom Holland was in an episode of Euphoria?
He wasn't.
Wait, yes, it was.
You fell for that, bro. That was Photoshop.
Was
It
that
was
fake?
faked, bro.
Yeah.
I didn't even watch
you
the
fell for
show
it,
when I knew
Patience.
that shit was fake.
You know, I'm gonna log off. My bad.
Anyways,
All right,
we're
so
gonna.
instead of using my usual spill, I'm gonna toss this off. This is non-spoiler right now, by the way. We're gonna do a quick 5-minute non-spoiler review before we head into spoilers for anyone who wants to check it out. I'm gonna toss this off to Anthony because he says he has a lot to say about it.
I do. Before I say anything, though, I want to I
No,
want to make the point clear that I feel like
wrong.
video game adaptations, like in movies, it's especially in a very story driven game like this, it's similar to like a book adaptation. Like the book is always going to be better because it's always going to be more detailed and it's longer, and in a movie it's going to be condensed.
Yeah.
And this kind of goes back to what Edward was saying earlier, is how this movie makes him excited to actually play the games, and I think that's good, but I don't think you should fully relate them, because yes, this was like a normal treasure, like kind of treasure hunt story, but the games the story is so much deeper, and it like there's so much more to unveil, and it's like you actually go through every little thing throughout the finding the treasure. You know what I
Which
mean?
is exactly why I said it made me excited to play the game, because I know that movies are only ever like just the very like tip of the iceberg of like
Right.
the whatever like the main lore is, like whether it's based on a book or a video game, as in this case.
Right.
But like just seeing like how the characters themselves acted or like interacted with each other, I was like, I gotta play these games, man, because I gotta get more of this, you know.
More of this
Right.
hype.
I do feel like though that the characters didn't interact with each other the same way. I don't know if it's a flaw or not, but I'll get into that later. But I was also debating if I wanted to review this as like the standalone movie, like we did with most video game adaptations, like Monster Hunter,
What do you mean?
or if I wanted to review it like
As
in
an Uncharted
relation,
movie.
right? And I thought about it for a while, and I think I am like gonna rate it and review it as like an Uncharted movie, because I feel like it's close enough where I can still find lots of positives. Like it won't be like two
You
completely
feel like it
separate
didn't
things.
diverge too much from the video games. This is what.
Right. There are gonna be like cons that I say that I don't like about the movie because they are different from the game, but I won't put that into like the final rating, because that's just like a personal thing. But
Great
Okay.
disclaimer. I do
Well,
actually want to. I want Anthony and you and Alex. I want y'all to talk about it from the video game perspective first, though.
Right now with spoiler free or waiting until
Spoiler
later?
free. Just let them know, like,
yeah, just like compare it to the
Yeah.
movie. Like, just say like what.
just
Uh,
quick comparison.
Essentially, the first 3 games and even the last game that just came out with Uncharted 4 Thieves End, a lot of the elements from each story is taken and put into the movie. Anthony, there's a certain scene. I don't know if this counts as a spoiler, but the airplane scene.
Yeah, it was
where
in the trailer.
Okay, so an airplane scene where he's falling out of the airplane, that actually comes from Uncharted 3.
that was like
which is-
directly in the
yeah,
game,
directly from the game. and it was a very good setup. I actually did enjoy it because it almost made me feel like I was playing it again. You know what I mean? It had that
Mhm.
camera angle where in the game you jump from thing to thing, from crate to crate,
Right.
and
And just like the short like first person like
oh
view,
yeah,
just
where he's
everyone there. That was cool.
it,
Yeah.
it kind of reminded me of Hardcore Henry. I don't know if y'all have seen that movie.
Yeah.
Just because that is like a POV movie, and I did enjoy it, the both that Hardcore Henry and that scene because it just like I don't know, it just made me feel like I was in it for a second. But Anthony, is there anything else you noticed from the movie that connected the 3 games or 4 games?
Okay, wait. To what Edward the whole plane scene? It's I don't know. I feel like if it was just a regular movie, this would be a con for the movie, but because it's Uncharted, I'm not going to count it as a con. But the laws of physics were just
Oh
like
no,
gone in that scene. Like there was nothing. Like gravity
he
didn't exist in
he
that scene.
like he fell back because of gravity. You know, because he caught himself and then fell back, but then was able to
Yeah.
jump from he was able to jump from a crate to like a crate that was like 3 feet away.
Or when they were on the car. That's all I'm going to say about it, but when they were on the car, like really.
That's one thing I
Didn't
do
make
have to
any
say
sense.
about this for like the casual viewers. This is a little it's a good action movie. It's a little goofy though. It's a little silly.
Yeah,
It's not
it
really
is.
realistic, and you got to just get used to that. You got to turn off your brain for this one, and you'll enjoy it a lot if you just don't take it too
I
serious.
completely went into it just like ignoring the physics. That's what I do with just action movies in general. Because if you
Yeah.
like watch an action movie from like a realistic perspective, it just
It never
nothing
works out.
ever like in a trillion years could ever make sense.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I just watched it just as I would expect just a regular movie,
Yeah.
Like
That's
it's
true.
just gonna do whatever like at the heart it's gonna do whatever the plot needs it to. So if they need him to jump against 300-mile-an-hour winds to another crate without getting blown back in any way, it's just gonna happen. So I just like I don't know. I guess it just depends the way you go into it. If you're like a physics teacher, first of all, you're a piece of shit. Second of all,
Yeah,
you're gonna fucking hate this movie, bro.
that is true.
Now the
Wait,
what? Sorry, good.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say one of the only things you might not enjoy about this movie is well, it's a good like we said, an action and adventure movie, like emphasis on the adventure of the lost treasure. But at the end of the day, the villain was kind of misplaced to me
Yeah,
and
yeah,
really
yeah.
Into
weak.
that.
You're along for the ride with Nathan Drake, but you're not really there
Uh,
for everything
yeah,
else.
I will say the villain was the weakest part of the story. However, I will say it wasn't completely like shocking.
Honestly, I disagree with you there. I do disagree with you
About what? The villain being
about
weak?
the villain being like the I guess like the you know what I mean when it's
The
The
weakest point?
villain, like
yeah
the villain
the
being shocking, like you
yeah
felt like
yeah
you were
yeah yeah
surprised
yeah
by it.
yeah. I wasn't really surprised by it. I was just kind of like
Oh, I wasn't either,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I
Yeah.
said. I don't know if it came out that way, but I meant
it's
like it
uh,
wasn't shocking that the villain was the villain.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
um
I will say one more thing though. Um, unless you have anything else spoiler free.
mm,
I'm good.
But
it
Alex, this is
okay.
go ahead.
Oh, I get that they were honestly. I'm not gonna lie. I did enjoy the movie myself. I really liked it. It just felt like they just clashed a lot of the stories together. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
I could
too
see that.
much of the story from each game was taken. Like a bit too much.
Yeah.
Yep, but also Anthony and Alex. So, how would that impact the sequels, though? If they already used all
Um,
this material,
honestly,
I feel like there's
they
potential.
could have just used one game to make a movie. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I mean, I
yeah,
I kind of disagree because I feel like they pulled like
not too
certain
much,
aspects.
not too
Right.
much.
That's true.
I do
I
feel
don't.
like there's a lot of
I
material too, so
I
I think
guess.
that should be okay.
I mean, I guess I'll explain it why in the spoiler review why I feel that way. But
Okay.
Okay, wait. let me say
Anthony
okay.
Anthony had
Let me
something to
say one
say
more
before we
thing.
go.
Nah, the so this is like a con of mine, but and this is just from coming from from playing the games. I didn't like how they portrayed Nathan Drake. So I didn't trust Tom Holland like the casting at first. I think he with what he was given, he played it perfectly and like he killed it absolutely. I still don't think he probably was the perfect cast, but I think in the movies he was like late 20s, like 28, 29, maybe 30. But what
Bro,
I
I think he was
really
way
didn't
younger
like,
than that. Like, I
Yeah.
feel
no,
like he
because
was in like his early 20s.
he was at least 25 because he was at least 10 in that opening scene, and it said
I think he
15
was,
years later.
yeah, I think he was for sure in like he's like 22, 23. Like,
I
there's no
don't.
way he was older than that.
The child that's in the first scene doesn't really portray a 9-year-old. I'm gonna be real with you, Chief.
Who, me?
Is he supposed to be
No,
9?
well, because Roach is saying that he should be like early like 20s. Like if he was like say 15
That
years,
guy, yeah, that
he has to
kid
be
was
at least
definitely
he has
older
to
in
be
the
at least
beginning.
6. He has to be at least 6 years old to be 6 plus 15, 21. You know,
Oh.
Yeah,
or
I thought he was like 10. But anyway, okay, that's not the point. Anyways, I don't like how they didn't go into like his background though. Like his background was like his brother was the treasure hunter, and
That's for
Nathan.
spoilers. That's for spoilers.
Hmm,
yeah, shut up,
you could
idiot.
just cut that back. So in the games, Nathan Drake was like this like almost legendary like treasure hunter. Like his whole life was devoted to like finding different treasures, lost cities, like all these things. But in the movie, like he was just like
Kind of
so
lost.
Solely was the one that came up to him and was like, "Hey, I've got a treasure hunt." And even then, he was like, "No, that's not really my thing." But in the games, that's like 100%
That's all
his
he
thing,
Well,
you
wants.
know.
That's all he wants.
I will
I
say
got a rebuttal.
they openly said in interviews that this was meant to be like a prequel to the games, as if this was like his origin story. So this would be the movie that would trigger his, you know, uh, lust for adventure and
Lost.
wanting to find those things. So I took it as this was like his origin story, no matter if they pulled from different games or not.
If that's
I
true,
went in expecting a young version of Nathan Drake. This is what would, kind of launch him into his thirst for adventure and, wanting to do all that type of stuff. And they like
right?
openly said that in like every interview, so that's what I expected going in.
Mhm.
So
I didn't know that.
I feel like that
Now you
criticism
know.
is like,
I kind of take back what I said then. If it was like truly a prequel, then I feel like it was good. Everything about it. But what were you gonna say, no?
No, nothing. You can go and cut it.
I think I took what Noah was gonna say.
Nah.
We're also.
You
Y'all want to go to the
idiot.
spoiler review?
Yeah, we can go to
Yeah,
spoiler
we're
review.
gonna
Let's do
slide
it.
right into our spoiler review. So if you guys haven't seen the movie and plan on watching it, go ahead and click right off. But follow us on our Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, everything. We're active on everything. So
Buy our
check it out,
merch.
ladies and gentlemen. Yes, and if you want to cop our merch, I just myself handmade some brand new designs with our original logo. So for you OG fans looking for some representation, check that out at merch.streamelements.com/the Hooligan Hangout. And see you guys. And after you finish watching the movie, be sure to click right back, compare your thoughts to ours. And with that being said, we're gonna slide right into our spoiler review. So, boys, Anthony,
All right.
Alex, people that have played the game.
I did enjoy the tenseness of the puzzles. I did like I love the puzzle scheme in the games. Like it actually tickled my brain for a little bit to the point to where I would have to like come back like a day later or 2 days, even 2 days later to the puzzle.
Sounds
Right.
like you're retarded. I mean,
All right, boy, play Uncharted then, you fucking bitch.
I'll fucking live stream that shit.
You'll be like, this shit was easy.
No, but I did enjoy it because like there were some parts where it'd be like, well, what the fuck do they do now? You know, like where they have to solve a puzzle in the movie, and I enjoyed that. It kind of gave me like
When
a
they
nostalgic feel.
when they were underwater in that cave, I was like, what the fuck?
I do have a question for you. I was about to say, did they pull any puzzles directly from the game?
Ooh,
Yeah,
good idea.
the crosses were from Uncharted 4. Right, Anthony? I don't know if you played Uncharted 4.
Even the way they got it.
I don't
No,
remember.
not the way they got it.
It's still cool that they implemented the puzzles because I feel like that would be one of the hardest things to translate into real life is video game puzzles.
Right.
In Uncharted 4, there's a certain scene to where you go into like an underground church, like a cave, and if you do it wrong, the character, if you pull it to the wrong way, like
Hmm.
spikes are lined up right here, so like one's in your head, one's in your chest, one's in your abdomen, whatever.
Ah, bro,
If you
that's
pull it
so sick.
wrong, the spikes go into your body. So in that altar
Jeez.
scene in the movie, when they
Oh, it
did it
was arrows
wrong,
instead of
yeah,
spikes.
yeah, instead of straight up just spikes like fucking rocks, it's arrows, and it was a good throw, a little good call. Um, there's what's another thing?
One at a time.
Oh my bad, sorry.
No,
I
you're
just
good.
like the puzzles in the movie. It really brought me back.
Yeah. All right,
All right,
Anthony.
Uh, I'm still trying to think of like a good solid pro.
Edward.
um, okay. So I have never played an Uncharted video game before or seen gameplay of it. So I was completely fresh. Like this is just a completely like unbiased, just straight up opinion of the movie. I felt like the writing on this was really, really solid for just a movie in general. Like it felt like the perfect mix of Pirates of the Caribbean and National Treasure. Like it was, it just felt like a fun adventure movie that has been lacking. Like the genre in itself has just like disappeared for forever, and it felt really refreshing to see it come back.
Yeah, to actually be good.
Yeah, and be good. Like they had every opportunity to flop, but I feel like even like at the very end where they're a boat battle with helicopters flying the boats instead of the boat sailing in water was like just like one of the coolest things just to see in like that we're able to achieve in like modern cinema. Like, I feel like just in general it really refreshed the genre and gave it a taste of something new.
Yeah. So
Which I will say is one of our qualifications for being a classic is a genre defining movie.
for a video game movie, yes, I would say it is going to help. Like we talked about earlier, the future of Sony, they're going in the right direction, and this just boosted them up. But I also think I agreed with Anthony earlier that I don't think Tom Holland or Mark Wahlberg. I've been on record saying this. I don't think they were good castings at all. I still think that, but I do think Tom Holland played a pretty convincing young Nathan Drake. I
Well,
really
see,
do.
well, see, it's like
And even like you said, Edward, towards the end of the movie, like the more I was just reevaluating, thinking about how he did, and like they even introduced when he was on the ship and he got his he got his little pistol strap and everything.
I love
That's
that.
how
yeah.
he got it. I was like, you know, it's supposed to be a prequel, and they established that, and they did a really good job doing that with Tom Holland
Oh, see,
because
I'm like,
he wasn't like it wasn't like too much into like there was some points where I was like, oh, I don't think that's how he would react, but then I just he's young, like
So my pro, I think, would be how true they kept to like the treasure hunting wasn't just. I feel like a lot of movies are in like certain areas, like the whole movie, but this literally went from like point A to point B to point C, like all over the world, and
yeah.
it spanned throughout like since he was young. He was like they were working the same thing since he was like super young, like I still guess like 10 years old.
they did a good job visually showing too. They even show like the map and the airplanes, and
Hmm.
they they didn't just like cut to a new
See,
place. Like they said
and it's
exactly where
funny
they were
because
going.
like the visuals reminded me of Indiana Jones, but the story
Yeah,
reminded me of National Treasure, and it
Right.
just like it felt like a movie that if I were to watch growing up, it would be a movie that I would watch like 1,000 times on repeat. You know?
yeah,
What do y'all want to
bro.
get to as far as cons?
Yeah, what did y'all think? Like, what's some of the bad? We did some of the good. Anyone want to start with some
Okay.
of the bad?
I guess I'll start with that real quick.
Okay, go.
Mike.
Oh, sorry. So throw back to earlier when I said that the movie felt a bit rushed, and I understand that it's a prequel. What's up, Richard? Sorry. What are you gonna
I didn't
say
say
something?
anything.
Oh,
No.
sorry, it's the voices in my head. Uh, so what to what I said earlier, to where it felt a bit rushed, and like y'all said, it was a prequel. I get that, but it took too much from each game, in my opinion, to make it a successful prequel. Like, I understand like the first game being, basically most of it on it to be a prequel, but they took from Uncharted 4, which is the newest game that came out. They took that and the end of that story game and
Mm.
shoved it into the movie, which felt kind of weird to me.
I was wondering, wasn't his brother only mentioned in like Uncharted 4?
No, his brother was mentioned earlier, but only like he was like fully fleshed out
pull,
in
pull,
Uncharted
pull,
4.
pull, pull away from your mic.
Oh, my bad.
Was
And
he
yeah,
was he
he
dead
was
though already?
no.
Or was he dead?
In Uncharted 4, he was in most of the story. Like, he was there the whole time. He was on the boat drive. He was with Nathan the whole time. Shit like that. And essentially, they killed this character off and put him in prison, which is where he starts in Uncharted 4. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
they time jumped it but reversed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See,
I think I'm okay with it because it gives them it gives them a way to go into their own direction, like go their own way away from the game. But
I think his brother's still alive. I just think, like you said, they're pulling away from it for now, and if they do multiple sequels, he's going to come
oh,
back at some
wait,
point.
he is alive though.
He
That
is
was
like,
like the whole
don't
point.
yeah,
say
that was.
that's literally him at the end writing. No.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
but I think it can be a con if it is an actual like sequel that's supposed to be like related to the games. I think it'll be a con because it
So if it's
like
canon,
Alex says it time
I
jumps,
would
but
see where the issue would be. But I think if it's not canon, it really doesn't matter.
Maybe it's an 8. Maybe it's an alternate universe.
I can actually let me look this up and see.
Anthony?
my only other I mean, you kind of already said it, but the casting, like, I think the casting was good for this movie. Like, I mean, I wasn't a fan of the casting until I watched the movie, and I feel like they both pulled off the role very well. But I don't think it leaves a lot for the future. Like, Tom Holland and even Mark Wahlberg maybe are good for like the sequel, but I can't see either one of them growing into like the Nathan Drake and
Sully.
solely from the games. Like, I feel like they're just not the right people for that.
I guarantee you Mark Wahlberg's going to have that mustache in the sequel.
Yeah.
I agree with you in the sense that God, Mark Wahlberg was playing Mark Wahlberg. He's playing the same person he always plays. In my opinion, I don't think he played solely good at all.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
I just did not think it worked. He
Because
played the
Sully's
same
supposed to
dude
be
he
like
always.
his role model, like his
Sully,
mentor. You
yeah,
know?
Sully also is more like dry humor. Like, he's
Right.
like, you know what I mean?
He brings like an element that Mark Wahlberg doesn't.
Okay, I looked it up, and it's not confirmed nor denied that it is canon. But with the amount of contradictions it has to the games, it's just assumed that it is not canon.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, either way, that's the same thing. What I said, they're gonna bring him back later. I hope not in the
Yeah.
direct sequel, but later on.
What's your con, Noah?
What's up, brother? Fuck, dude. How am I supposed to? How am I supposed to feel like suspense and intense with a shitty villain like that? I'm sorry. I
That's
think
fair.
he was one of the weakest villains I've seen in a long time. And not only that, he never posed a threat. He was just chasing him around. He never like got to the point where where Drake's at gunpoint, or like he actually does something that's like malicious. And not only that, but all of a sudden his fucking assistant just betrays him out of nowhere. Like, okay,
I was gonna say
you're supposed to do
I
something.
I agree with you on both levels, because one, the guy who was like initially like perceived to be the main villain, he was kind of just like there to be there, like he never really did anything. He just kind of bossed people around. And then the person that you knew was going to be the actual villain, that ended up being the actual villain, she would she already got her ass kicked by the fucking main characters twice before that. So how are you supposed to like feel threatened by this bitch that got her ass whooped by Mark Wahlberg by himself before?
The worst part about it is I don't think she's dead.
Bro,
Wait,
if
which
she
one? The one.
survived that whole boat being dropped on her fucking head, I will be impressed.
Dude, she
I'd be
wasn't killed.
mad.
She wasn't killed on screen, bro.
You know what? I was about to say they didn't show the body, so you do get a good point there. If they don't
Exactly.
show the body, they're not dead.
Exactly. That's what I gotta say about that. Who didn't go? Edward.
Um, Negatively, I will say that while the first person camera shot was, really cool to see, bro, what the fuck? They did not make those hands look like anything other than a PS3 model. Like whenever they showed like his hands waving in front of his face,
Oh yeah.
I was like, I straight up thought to myself, I was like, I wonder if they just cut this scene from the game and put it in the movie. That was like the first thing that came into my head. I was like,
That would have been
I
funny,
wonder
dude.
if they just straight up transitioned to a video game shot from here because this is exactly what it looks like.
It's
Because
gonna
those
like
hands did not look realistic at all.
the movie just like
But
turns into the whole fucking game.
If you look under your seats, everyone gets a controller.
that's what they did for the puzzles. They made it interactive, and they're like, "Here, you guys got to figure it out yourselves."
All right, guys, here's 30 minutes. Figure out the puzzles. Everyone gets a different controller. They all mean different things. Go.
They all mean different things.
It's like a giant escape room.
Some dude gets a fucking NES controller. He's like, "What the fuck am I supposed to do with this shit?"
Someone gets a fucking like mouse and keyboard. They're like,
No,
Holding it.
I will say like just that one little visual scene, and I guess like what Anthony said earlier, like the physics just being kind of retarded. But I feel like the physics being retarded didn't pull you from the movie because whenever they applied like the physics changes, they did do enough with the suspense to make you just kind of ignore it and focus more on the character trying to get out of that situation instead of wondering if like, huh, this totally is not fucking real. Until he got hit with the fucking falling car out of the plane and then magically landed on a shipping container that knew how to float and didn't feel any kind of recoil from that.
he should have died.
And he was all cussing, and I'm like, "Oh, Tom Holland said a naughty word."
Bro. Okay. I forgot. I totally forgot until you said that under the con earlier. Out of all of the movies Tom Holland has been in that he's portrayed an American, I heard his English accent stick out the most in this movie. Like,
Really?
there were a few times where he screamed, and I was like, his fucking accent came out there.
Yeah.
Or like in the first scene where he's stealing the first key, whenever he's just casually talking to I don't even remember her name. That's how shitty the villain was.
Nadine. I think it was Nadine.
Yeah, whenever you meet her for the first time and he's talking to her, I clearly heard his English accent come out. Like it's like he just forgot how to be American for a sec there.
That's a
And
good catch. That's a good
And like
catch.
he said that, and I was like, his accent I was like, his accent came out. I've never heard his accent in a movie before.
You see stuff like that, and you feel like, did they even play back the shot?
Yeah, it was that, and then I could hear it a lot when he would scream as he was falling.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've never heard that from him before. And I was like, well, when he plays Spider-Man doesn't really scream when he like falling or anything, you know?
Yeah. But even then, he did not know he was gonna survive. So why didn't he scream?
Yeah, exactly.
We thought he was gonna
So,
die,
like-
just straight up.
Hearing him scream, I was like, your accent came out like a hell of a lot there, bro.
But it's like whatever.
But those were my biggest pickup parts. Were just, I guess, like in the overall movie, it was just fairly minor things, you know.
All right, guys. So,
Yeah.
anything else y'all got for me, for us, for the audience?
Good.
All right,
I'm ready
so
to rate it.
Wait,
Ladies and
hold
gentlemen.
on. I actually had one more thing. I was just gonna say I thought the pacing was a little bit weird. Not like bad, but it was just I don't know. It was a little off.
I was supposed to say
to me.
it felt kind of fast for me,
Mm-hmm.
but not in a bad way. Like I feel like the issue with it being fast, I was like, damn, I feel like this movie could have been longer and kept me entertained for a little bit longer. Like it felt
Me
Yeah,
with my
maybe-
penis.
like there's a difference between you wanting more in a good way and a bad way, and I felt like this made me want it more in just a very, very slightly bad way.
Yeah.
But that being said, Alex, what did you give this movie? 1 to 10, no decimals.
Yes.
Oh god, I got a cramp. Ah.
All I'm saying is this movie
I give.
should be.
Hey, is your name Alex?
Was
Cereal?
movie good? Yes.
The movie was good.
Cereal?
I give it an 8. I give it an 8.
I also give it an 8.
Hey, give me a high five.
Damn. I was going to give this shit an 8.
Nice.
Noah.
I'm giving it a 7.
I was torn.
I'm giving it a 1.
I was torn between a 7 and an 8, but like there's just such like the flaws that we had were so nitpicky. I was like, I can't go below an 8.
I was gonna give it
It's
a
like,
Sorry, go ahead.
especially with what I said about it being like a genre-defining movie. Like this kind of, in my head at least, revitalized the treasure hunting genre. Like it brought back that whole. Like it makes me want to watch more movies in the same. Like it makes me want to go back and watch Pirates of the Caribbean. You know?
I
Yeah.
forgot to add one little thing. It was just like a little Easter egg. I don't know if y'all noticed Anthony, who they were talking to on the beach.
Yeah.
Do you know who that was?
You didn't notice, Anthony?
That was
Holy
Nathan Drake's.
shit.
That was Nathan Drake's voice actor in the games.
You
Nathan
didn't
Filoni.
I literally heard it in his voice. That was Nolan.
No,
North.
Nathan. Oh, you're right. Where he's like, what happened?
He's like,
And
Tom
Tom Holland,
yeah,
Tom
he's like,
Holland was
oh.
like, I just fell out of a plane, and he's like, I've been through that. I did that.
Dude, I saw him go on there and I was like, that's a weird interaction. I wonder why they chose to do it with that extra of all people.
Anthony
like,
left. Right after the plane scene, Anthony left. That's why he doesn't recall the scene.
Yeah,
Well,
ladies and gentlemen.
I'm surprised
So,
you didn't notice, Anthony.
3 out of 4 hooligans give it an 8.
I was gonna say I was
So-
gonna give it a 6 before we talked about it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
I could.
I just
A
feel like
7 is a very good, fair review.
I just think it did its job. I didn't think it went above and beyond.
I want to give it a 7, but I feel like I rate very high, so it would put it below other movies.
I really don't. I don't see it getting below an 8 for much. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, like the big flaws that we pulled out were like in general just like very minor like attention to detail things. You know.
Well, also in my opinion, having a weak villain bums a movie down significantly.
Yeah.
You know what?
So,
In my opinion.
so
I really didn't think about the villain that much. I just thought more about the heroes because the heroes kind of carry it. But given the fact that I literally felt zero threat by any of the villains,
That's
I
the
want to
point.
say I want to say I give it the 7 that I was gonna give it before.
I can't believe I convinced you to change out of everyone. What the fuck?
This deserved the IG 7. I will say that.
Oh no, not the meme.
All right.
Well, it's
Do y'all
because, as we've said before, like 7 for y'all is like an average movie, but like a 5 for me is an average. So I'd give it above average movie.
That's very fair.
So we add up the scores. So 7 plus 7 is 14. 8 plus 8 is 16. 16 plus 14 is 30. It's 30 divided by 4. It's going to be about around the average of 7-ish. So we're gonna round it
given
down
this
to
movie,
a 7.
we have given the movie the infamous IG7. So if you guys enjoyed our commentary, or if you guys just enjoy the movie in general, go ahead and follow our channel for more updates on more video game movies, because that's definitely a genre that we'd be interested in. So if you guys want to be updated about any of the content we post or our schedules for the month, we do keep it updated on our TikTok at the Hooligan Hangout, and check out all of our social medias at the Hooligan Hangout as well to be updated on any of our uploads and anything we do. Like we said before, we got some sick ass merch on merch.streamelements.com, such as the Hooligan Hangout. Copy yours today. It helps keeps us in business, and it helps fund our future short films, like the one we did before, which is currently under writing. So if you guys are listening now, we do have a new short film under production right now.
Get hyped. Also, before everyone goes, before everyone checks out, y'all better start hyping yourself up because it's Batman week, baby.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
shit.
Next week is the Batman.
I watched
So-
it. I was there for the premiere night. It's fucking fire. Let's fucking go. Yeah, baby.
So, you guys have a good night. And say hi to your moms for all of us.